Hello. It is day 5 of sleep deprivation, and I have had 3 hours of sleep. I got to have 3 hours of sleep. So I went to bed at 10 p.m., but I actually laid down on the couch last night to have a bit of a relax, and I did have a snooze. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think that snooze may have been approximately 45 minutes. So I woke up from that, got up and got ready to get into bed. But I have to say, it was the first time since starting sleep deprivation that I felt that I was in a dire situation. Yeah, it was the first time that I felt like this was hard. And being day 5 now, so quick recap. Last night I slept 3 hours, the night before 4 hours, night before that 5 hours, then 6 hours and 6.5 hours, when my usual sleep would be 7.5 to 8 plus hours. Now, I'm sure there are lots of people who experience sleep deprivation in their regular life, and probably a lot of people that feel that they can sustain or survive through their day with 4-5 hours sleep consistently. I am not one of those people, and this is for an end goal. To add another layer to that, I have a history of concussion symptoms, or concussions, which now the impacts of that on my everyday life are recurring migraine symptoms. So there's a nuance to this that I knew going in, and I absolutely chose this. So I'm in no way complaining. I am merely stating what's coming up for me, what's going on for me during this experience, which is part of why I am documenting it. So there are a couple of things that I feel like I have learned already, and for context or to paint the bigger picture, tonight will be the last night that I am conducting this endeavor, this side quest. And when I lay down for slumber tonight, I will be gifting myself 90 minutes of sleep. Now, that doesn't include the 10 to 15 minute naps that I've allowed myself, because when I am competing in Harry's King of the Hill, which is in October, I have the intention of running every hour on the hour for 4+ days. So if you've not heard of an event like this before, it is considered a last man standing event, and what I believe is considered a backyard ultra. Now, I have not participated in one of these events before, but what I do know is that I am not going there just to participate. That is not, that's just not it for me. If I am preaching what I know, is that how you do anything is how you do everything. And so I am applying that very principle to my sleep deprivation, to preparing for this event. So the fact that I will be running for 4+ days means that there will be very little time to allocate to sleep. Now, 10 to 15 minutes per hour is probably the max I would say I will have to be able to allocate to sleep, which means sleep deprivation is going to be a massive factor in how I can perform in this event, which is exactly why I'm being crazy and practicing sleep deprivation. Would I challenge you to do the same thing? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is a certain strand of crazy or insanity to take on extreme tasks, to take on extreme side quests, to take on anything extreme. And I know with my background of professional sport that I have the makeup to be able to go after this. But there are some people that absolutely would not. And that's okay, because otherwise we'd be living in a world where everyone's a robot and everyone's pursuing the same things. So today, my alarm went off at 1 a.m. Since then, I have washed my hair and dried it. I've made myself a tea. I've written in my journal, and that's where I'm currently at now. But some things I've learned along the way. Let's dive into it. You absolutely can manufacture staying awake or going to sleep. And what I mean by that is if this were an adventure game, think Mario Kart or Spyro the Dragon or Pokemon, lighting would be a skill card. So something I have learned and something that I have done over the course of the last couple of days, especially progressively as the sleep has become less, turn the lights on straight away. As soon as I wake up, the lights are on. As soon as I get out of bed, all of the overhead lights are on to signal to my body that it's time to wake up, that it's time for us to get going, get moving. And on the flip side of that, at nighttime, none of the overhead lights are on. It is lamps, it is candles. And when I have my lamps on, they're all warm. They're not this cool white light that I have on today. They're more red, they're more orange, they're more warmer colours to help signal to my brain that it is time or we're getting ready to go to sleep. So that's number one thing I've learned. Number two, now I wrote these down, but as a result of the sleep deprivation, it's challenging for me to recall short-term stuff that I have done in my my short-term memory. And the lighting one was actually the last thing that I wrote. So there were three other things that I've got one. Decision fatigue. So as the day goes on, the less I sleep, the less hours that I sleep, or the less time that I've slept, leaves less brain capacity to be stewing on decisions. So I'm actually noticing that the longer the day goes on, the quicker my decisions are becoming. Now, I'll give you an example from last night. I ended up deciding to not purchase dinner out, which I thought was a pretty big deal, TBH, because usually or in the past, when I have been fatigued or really low on energy or running on very little sleep and, for a lack of a better term, tired, my go-to food is beige food. And what I mean by beige food is fast food. And something within me last night was just like, no, you can just take the hard route. Go to the shop. Don't order pizza, don't order in food. Go to the shop, pick up a pizza, and you can make it yourself at home. So that's what I did. I actually went to the shops. I went to Aldi, and my real life example for you is that I went down the fruit, meat, cold section aisle, and the decisions I was making about the foods that I will eat for the next couple of days and early into next week, especially considering the mountain of lack of sleep that I am overcoming, was incredible. As soon as I walked down the aisle, as soon as I made eye contact with something that I thought I could work with, no questions, no ifs, buts about it. It went straight into the basket, and it wasn't actually a question of, will I eat this thing or can I prepare this thing? It was like, we are taking this, and what will I have it with? Or how will I put this into a meal? And I think that we have come to a place as a society, as people, as humans, where there is so much choice. And because there is so much choice, we are making so many decisions in the day. We are actually using our brains for the wrong thing. And when I say the wrong thing, I mean stewing on things like what activities we're going to do today. What are we going to eat for dinner tonight? Because I have had a lack of sleep, because I have limited my sleep, my brain is picking and choosing what is the most high priority items that I need to accomplish. And when I went to the supermarket, it wasn't about what to eat. It was about, this is what we're eating. How do you now move on to the next thing? It was really quick. So that is the second lesson that I have learned. Let me see if I can sit and stew and pull the other two from my short-term memory. Whilst I do that, I will recall my symptoms. So there's a bit of yesterday I spoke about having a hurt that has set in. I would say that is still there. Yesterday there were a lot of variances with my mood, and I more mean energy. I was up and then I was down. There was a little bit more caffeine consumed yesterday. I ended up having a coffee first thing in the morning after my chiro appointment, and then a matcha and a V, but didn't finish the matcha or the V. But I just know that there was a fair bit of caffeine consumed, and I've been doing my best to stick with my regular caffeine schedule, which is a coffee made at home, a store-bought coffee, and then either a store-bought coffee around mid-afternoon or an energy drink around that time. And then that takes me through all the way to about 10 p.m., which is when I'm roughly going to sleep. And I haven't noticed too much of a difference to that pattern until yesterday when I included a matcha as well. So there's that. Yesterday on my run, my body felt it. Yeah, I think that's the best and easiest way, most simple way to put it, is my body felt it from the limited sleep that I have received. Now, when you sleep, your brain has its own bin collection service. So there are certain hours, or there's an amount of hours that you need to have your brain's waste collection to be completed. So if I'm limiting my sleep, that's obviously not happening as efficiently. And it's only for a temporary period of time. But just imagine how that would stack up if you are someone who is consistently getting less sleep than, 7 hours. Now, these two lessons are not coming back to me, so they might have to they might have to come at a different time. But the outlook for the day emotionally is chill for right now. I think it's about, the word that's coming to my head is surviving. It's really about surviving the day today. I will attempt to take Peaches for a walk before I leave for work. And if I feel like I have the capacity to, we will attempt to run a little bit later this evening as well. So this is another day where I have 3 days. I will have 3 days in my day today because I've been up since 1 a.m. So my work day will start at approximately 9. Then after work, I will also have training. So that is one thing that I have taken also from limiting my sleep, is that there is a lot more perceived time to complete other tasks. So in terms of task maxing, it's great. But from a physiological point of view, I can sense and feel myself deteriorating. And I can see in my face, even just looking at myself in this, as if this was a mirror, that my face is fatigued. Like, I look fatigued, which is normal. So here's to day 5 of sleep deprivation.